Toy Story 3 has to have the most influential, inspiring, and saddest endings to a animated film that I have ever seen, as I'm sure you guys have too. In today's video, we're going to be looking at what came after Toy Story 3 and why the third movie should have been the perfect ending to the trilogy, and why I personally don't think Toy Story 4 and beyond, no pun intended, was necessary at all, and unfortunately was a cash grab by Disney. So welcome back, nerds, welcome back to my channel, and thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. My name is Andrew or Swerve, and guys, I'm on a roll with these videos. I really do appreciate all of the views that I've been getting, all the comments and feedback I've been getting on X and in my comment section, the likes. Guys, it really does just mean the world to me. I've been looking at my channel analytics, and the views and the attention to my channel has gone up significantly with the upload schedule that I've been maintaining. And it's feedback, even if it's just from a few people, it's feedback from you guys that really keeps me going. I love to hear everything that I'm doing wrong, everything I'm doing right, and everything that you guys love about this channel. And with that being said, let's waste no more time. Don't forget to follow me on X at pooch_io. I post all my movie news and thoughts on there. Let's get into it. So, Toy Story 3. Everyone knows it. Everyone's seen it. If you haven't, I'm not sure what might be wrong with you, but this is one of the most beloved animated franchises and most known animated franchises in the entire world. My personal favorite being Toy Story 2. That movie, man, that movie is great. It's definitely my favorite Pixar movie of all time. It's amazing. I love the ending scene. I love the chicken guiles, chicken barn, all of it. But we are not here to talk about Toy Story 2. We are here to talk about Toy Story 3 and why it should have been the perfect end to a beloved trilogy, and why I honestly think the continuation of the series with Toy Story 4 and the upcoming Toy Story 5 kind of ruined that ending for me, as I'm sure it did for many others. Now, there'll be multiple takes that I want to get into here, multiple reasons why I think that this might have happened, reasons why I think that Toy Story 3 should have been the perfect end, and reasons why Toy Story 4 should have never happened. But most importantly, why Toy Story 4 did happen in the first place. As I'm sure everyone had the same idea in their head when that movie was announced and there was a trailer. Who asked for a Toy Story 4? No one asked for a Toy Story 4. The send-off at the end of Toy Story 3 was absolutely beautiful, and it was perfect. As someone who just recently watched Toy Story 3 and 4 back-to-back, I have a lot of thoughts that I've gathered and wrote down that I want to share with you guys in this video. Starting off with the ending of Toy Story 3, we follow throughout the entire movie Buzz, Woody, and the gang being separated from Andy before he goes to college. Andy's now 17, grown up, and he's about to leave, and the toys get misplaced and start to wonder if Andy even really cared about them. At the end of the day, he's a 17-year-old kid, and playtime is for little kids. But the beauty of this ending, especially watching it the first time, which I remember when I was just a little kid, I can't remember how old, but the real beauty of this ending is the fact that Andy in the end really did care about the toys, and he cared about the childhood that they made for them. He said thank you to them, and he almost shed a tear. I think it's something that everyone can relate to. Everyone who at least had a childhood where they played with toys and played make-believe in their head, you can understand the meaning and the significance that these toys, these things of plastic, can hold dear to your heart. Look, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm 21 years old, and I have a bunch of play toys just tucked away in my back closet, collecting dust that, you know, I don't use. I don't. But they just meant so much to me growing up, and I want to one day give them to my kids. And the reason for that is because of these movies. What I thought would have been a great thing for the toys is for them to have been passed on to Andy's kids when he eventually had kids, and yada yada yada. But Andy's not going to hold on to these toys for years on end and keep them in the attic when there's kids out there that can make use of the toys that he cares about right now. And that kid being Bonnie. And like I said, throughout the entire movie, we follow Woody, Buzz, Jesse, and all of the gang trying to get back to Andy once they figure out that Sunnyside is just not the place that it is. They have a ruthless ruler under Lotso who just so happens to be one of, if not the greatest Disney or Pixar villains I have ever seen written in a movie. I mean, this dude just has no care in the world about what happens to these guys. And we can't get into the ending without talking about the fire scene. I mean, oh my goodness. It's a very meaningful scene. The way that Woody and the gang are just ready to accept a tragic ending to their story, I thought was just beautifully written. They knew, they had thought in their mind that everything was just about over. Andy was going away, he didn't care about them anymore, and this was going to be the end of their story. But in the nick of time, obviously, they are saved, and they find a way back just in time before Andy leaves for college. Then we get the most heartfelt scene in the entire part of the movie, I have to say, when Andy is giving away his toys to Bonnie from a post-it note that Woody wrote on the box from his mom. Andy hesitates giving away Woody, but with the other toys it doesn't matter, because there's always that one keepsake, that one memorable toy that always meant the most to you. Me personally, it was a Webkinz, it was a dog, not really sure what it was like a golden retriever or like some kind of dog, but it was a Webkinz, and he was the main character of every single one of my adventures that I played when I was a little kid. We all can remember that one toy that was very, very important to us. And we see in this moment that Andy really does care about these toys on an emotional level. We don't really know much about Andy's childhood besides the toys that he played with, because obviously this is Toy Story. It's about the toys, it's not about Andy. Besides the first movie where he had a birthday party, we don't really know much about Andy's childhood, if he had a lot of friends, and even if he didn't, he had these toys to create his childhood and his sense of imagination. So when he gives them one final look, says goodbye, and the toys are all content with how they are, we get the most beautiful ending I've ever seen in an animated film. So, what exactly went wrong? This ending was perfect. After 3 movies of watching the toys, we see some stay, we see some go, but then in the 3rd movie, we're only left down to like the original crew, minus some like Bo Peep. Keep that in mind. And before the 4th movie came out, everyone had just had to kind of speculate that everything was going to be okay. Andy was going to go on with his life at college, Bonnie was going to be the new caretaker for these toys, and that was going to be the end of it. That was the Toy Story. Right? Right? No, that's actually not right. So getting into the second part of this video, Toy Story 4. So, okay, I need to get something clear straight out of the get-go. Toy Story 4 is not a bad movie by any means. In fact, I think it's a really great movie. Not to mention the animation is absolutely stunning in this movie. The fact that we have Tom Hanks and all the original voice actors besides Mr. Potato Head, who's voice actor unfortunately passed away before this movie was created. I truly do think it's a beautiful story, it's a good movie, and it's got a good narrative. Although I will say the villain, Gabby Gabby, isn't that great. I do think that her story was heartfelt, and I do think a lot of the new characters like Duke Kaboom, voiced by Keanu Reeves, and then we have Ducky and Bunny, voiced by Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key. I absolutely loved all of their scenes in this. I thought the movie was funny. It's a good movie, but at the end of the day, it does kind of give the ending of the 3rd movie a little less meaning. The whole reason that we felt so connected to the toys in the first 3 movies is because it was over the span of multiple years. We got to see Andy as a child grow up and feel that within ourselves. We all understand what it's like to grow up, get rid of our toys, and go to college. We all know what that's like, and that's why it meant so much. So you might be thinking, what's so wrong about basically starting up a new trilogy with a new kid, having her grow up with these toys, and sending her off to college and then parting with the toys as well? Well, that amount of explanation should be an answer in itself. The ending just wouldn't hit as hard if this were to happen again, if Bonnie were to part with the toys, because this isn't who we grew up with. Maybe the new generation did, but this is not what made Toy Story so famous. It's because it's such a long-running trilogy, and going in a basically similar route with the same toys but also new ones, I don't know, it's just weird. But it does seem like in this new trilogy that they're seemingly trying to create, especially at the beginning of Toy Story 4, we see the recap of what happened in the first 3 movies, what happened to Bo Peep, who's going to be playing a major part in this movie, and then finally moving on to the present, which I think starts directly at this moment where we see that Woody now has Bonnie's name on his foot. It's a goodbye to the original trilogy and a welcoming to the brand new viewers, to the new story. This is what it's going to be. Now, I think that's great. No, I really do think that's great. But I think if they wanted to make a new Toy Story franchise, then maybe they should have gone in a different direction. And what I mean by that is I think different toys, a different kid, a different part of the world. We have followed the original crew for this story the whole time. You know, we've seen what they've gone through, and I thought the third movie was a perfect conclusion to their story. And I thought maybe seeing new toys would have been definitely a controversial decision, but I think it would have been a smart one. At this point, it just kind of feels like they're milking the franchise for everything it's worth, because what I believe is that the third movie was supposed to really be the true ending. But seeing as how popular the series was and considering who Disney is, it was kind of inevitable. Now, as I mentioned earlier, what makes the fourth movie make the third movie's ending so insignificant? Well, like I said, there was that part in the fourth movie where we have like kind of a montage section of what happened in the first three movies and how Andy's now gone and where the toys are now. And you would think, okay, that's the end of the previous trilogy. That's where it ends. We're done with Andy. The toys have now moved on. But then we get this side plot with Woody where he's not even over Andy just yet. He still keeps thinking of Andy, and we still keep going back to like the first couple of movies, and it's just like Woody's kind of stuck in the past. And Forky, the new character, who I think is actually really funny in this movie, points this out a lot. He doesn't think Woody's completely over Andy, and that kind of leads into the ending of the fourth movie. Woody just doesn't feel like he can go on not being played with by Andy, so he leaves. In a rather emotional ending, I will say, Woody leaves the gang and stays with Bo Peep in a traveling circus to go see the world with her. In a very, very sweet way by handing off the badge of the sheriff to her and saying goodbye to everyone. I just thought that it was a beautiful ending. I thought it was good. It was sad. But then, what's going on in Toy Story 5? Like, the biggest issue with Toy Story 4 isn't that Toy Story 4 shouldn't have happened. It's that it opened up the door for more Toy Story, which I don't think needed to happen. In the third movie, you had a perfect conclusion of the toys separating from their original owner. That was that. And then I was like, okay, so the fourth movie is more really about the toys finding what they want in their life, or more, rather, the protagonist, Woody, finding out what he wants in his life. And I'm like, okay, that's it. That's the ending. Right? No. So in the fifth movie, it seems like we are going to have the toys all coming back, and they're going to be together, including Woody, and it's going to be about Bonnie becoming addicted to technology, screens, and really? Like, I mean, it's a good concept, and I'm sure Pixar is going to hit the nail right on the dot with the movie and the animation. It's all going to be great. But did we really need this? I mean, I thought Toy Story 4's ending and having that movie was already a stretch from the continuation of the third one, but a fifth movie now. If that's truly going to be the end, Toy Story 5, which no promises on that. I mean, I've heard talks of another sixth movie also possibly happening, not confirmed at all. But with the last two movies having such an emotional ending, what are you going to do with the ending this time? How are you going to bring Woody back? I just don't understand really what they're doing. And of course they're going to come up with an in-universe explanation for why Woody comes back and all that, but it's just going to make everything kind of pointless that happened in the fourth movie. But like I said, it doesn't mean the movies are bad. It doesn't mean the fourth movie was bad. It doesn't mean the fifth movie is going to be bad. It just makes their endings much more insignificant than originally thought. So let's put it like this. The third movie, the toys are saying goodbye to their original owner. We're like, okay, that's the end of Toy Story. That was the Toy Story all along. No, Toy Story 4. Okay, there's one more thing we gotta get rid of. It's Woody. These toys are sentient after all. They have their own lives and emotions. Let's see what the protagonist really wants out of his life. No. It's almost like I feel like Disney is just kind of like milking the franchise for everything that it's worth, getting every little story that you can out of toys, which I mean is seemingly infinite. They're forgetting the most important thing about these movies, about basically every Pixar movie, I think. It's drawing up a creative and fun journey for real life things that happen around us that can help kids understand. For example, Inside Out and Inside Out 2, which I also just previously watched. I thought those movies were absolutely great. The first one had Riley growing up as a child and dealing with newer emotions, which is a very, very creative way of explaining emotions that can be relatable to children through a movie, with the emotions having emotions of their own. And then you have the second movie where Riley has grown up even more and she's starting to deal with anxiety, boredom, envy, and embarrassment that all work together to suppress the original emotions. Because that's what it's like to be a teenager. And I'm sure we'll have a third Inside Out movie where Riley will, maybe be between the ages of 15, 18 and go to college just like Andy did. And by then, Riley's brain will have been fully developed, and that should really be the end of Inside Out at Inside Out 3 or maybe even 4. But that's basically the idea of Pixar's movies. They want to try to explain things that happen in real life in a way that kids can understand. And it just seems like they're kind of missing the mark now with their original series, Toy Story. It seems like they're just straying away from the concept of what it's like to grow up and rather just making more movies because they know that it'll make money. And they know that they can make good movies with good animation, good voice actors, and a good story. Now look, I know people are going to disagree with me. People love the Toy Story franchise, but I just really think that when it comes to a narrative that's been built over multiple movies and then you finally end it, I think that holds a lot of meaning in the hearts of the viewers. And then when you kind of stretch that out and you add more to that, you kind of just lose that meaning that it originally had. Like when I recently watched Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4 back to back, when I got to the Toy Story 3 ending, I just didn't really feel like I felt when I originally used to watch it. Because I knew exactly what was going to happen in Toy Story 4, and I'm just like, well, these toys aren't going anywhere, we got another journey with them. I just think that having that feeling of unknown, what exactly is going to happen to the toys with the new kid Bonnie, what's going to happen to Andy, just being completely up in the air, unknown, is what made the ending just so perfect and beautiful. But, once again, that is how Disney rolls. I do hope Toy Story 5 is good, and I hope it can make things right between the ending of the third movie and the fifth. What I can only ask is to please not bring Andy back in any form. It just wouldn't really make sense. And it would just be one of those moments to get like an audience applause break, which seems to be kind of what everyone's trying to do nowadays. And that's going to be important for maybe, the first month or two while the movie's been released, but then everyone's just going to forget again. And the thing that no one forgot about was the ending of Toy Story 3. That's something that people will talk about forever. Anyways, guys, sorry that was a little bit of a rant. I just thought I should share my thoughts on why I think the Toy Story franchise should have ended at 3 and why I really do just love the movies so much, and I just don't want to see them ruined like franchises have, like Fast and Furious, by getting movie after movie after movie and just ruining the original magic of it. So yeah, guys, that's basically going to be it. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. Don't forget to follow me on X at pooch_io and look out for a new video this week.